All right, rock stars, we got another episode of the No Bullshit Podcast for Contractors, and we are going to focus heavily today on this baby, big announcement, finally hitting the press, right? How to steal your competitors' tradespeople ethically. It is one of the biggest issues, challenges, epidemics is the topic of hiring, and this book addresses it once and for all. So you want to get it, you want to get the insights on this, you want to dominate your competition, you want to learn how to ethically steal your top tradespeople, or their top tradespeople, then get the book, get on the podcast. We'll see you there. Ciao.
Until right now, this very moment, contractors have always been on their own, not as tradespeople, but being alone and knowing how to take their business to the next level. They call us working class, they call us blue collar. They say that we don't have the smarts to become the business owner that we're meant to be. That is such bullshit. You have the ability. You're more than any of that. The question really is, where do you get the insights that you need specific to contracting to systemize your business so you can get your profits to pay for your freedom? I'm Andrew Houston. I'm going to show you how to make more profits, how to get more control, how to get more freedom in the simplest, quickest way possible without any of that bullshit. Welcome to the No Bullshit Podcast for Contractors. Listen up, level up, and if you learn something, like the video, subscribe to the channel, change your business, change your life.
All right, rock stars, it is go time with another No Bullshit Podcast for Contractors. And today, pretty special day, launching the big new book here, How to Steal Your Competitors' Tradespeople Ethically. And I want to share with you guys some of the gold that's in here. I want to give you strategies today and really, get into how you can get this into your hands. And one of the biggest ways to dominate your market, in all honesty, is being able to build an A team that's better than your competition. So without further ado, let's get this rock and rolling. Is to ask yourself this question. Are you a contractor? Okay. If you're a contractor, great. Are you looking to actually grow and really improve your contracting business and take it to the next level? And are you at a place where you're willing to listen? Okay. Listening and learning go hand in hand. And you've got to be present. You've got to be, you've got to be ready for the information. This is what today's all about. This has been in the works for honestly years. It's been a dream of mine. It's the beginning of a series of books I'm going to be putting together. But I thought I would address, I thought there's no better time than the present when there's an epidemic and trying to find, there's 4 key areas, and that's what we're going to be touching on in this book. How to find is number 1. How to attract, number 2. Okay. How to land, number 3, and how to keep A players. And one of the best ways to go about doing that is, and we're going to get into this today, is how to steal your competitors' tradespeople ethically. The book is now going to be released next week. So you guys are going to be able to get copies of the book in the next couple of weeks. And then I'm going to share with you guys how to get that in just a moment so you can get on the early bird list. They say the early bird gets the worm. So I'll share with you guys how to do that in just a second. I'll give you guys, tell you the link. Because the sooner that you do get this into your hands, the sooner that you guys are able to, dominate your competition. And let's face it, it's a competitive environment out there, right? There's competitors out there, and competition is really good. I think competition is one of the best things that can push you to become better. So let's get into this book. You guys ready? We're going to make this a 4-part series covering off each of those areas. Again, how to find, how to attract, how to land, and how to keep A players. And so as you guys are listening to this, if you're part of the Profitable Contractors Association, please type in any questions that you have. I would love to, address any specific questions that you have in the topic of hiring and building an A team. So how the hell did this book come about? Let's just touch on that. I struggled for a long, long time when I had my own contracting business. And one of the greatest challenges that I had, let's talk about the challenges I didn't have, some of the challenges that I didn't have. I didn't really have a challenge getting work, okay? And I think for most contractors out there, if you're, worth your weight, even somewhat, if you're an okay contractor as far as skill set, as far as, the quality of workmanship you do, I'm not talking about being good or great, just okay. With the shortage of, contractors that are out there, the demand has been much greater than the supply for a long, long time. When I had my contracting business, one of the greatest things that held me back was being able to have the team to execute on those opportunities, those opportunities of getting more work. I had to turn away so much work. It was crazy. And that was a major challenge for me. Now, regardless of that, if that resonates with you or not, at the end of the day, one of the core principles that we have to get into, which is covered off in this book, is you cannot build a business without a team. Okay. If you don't have a team, I'm going to tell you right now, you're just over broke. And what does that mean? Which stands for a job, right? You basically have a job. In other words, the minute that you stop working, okay, so if you're on the tools right now and you're the main person doing the work right now, right? Or you're wearing, all the freaking hats in the company, what's the problem with that? Well, if God forbid you got hit by a truck or got injured or something of that nature where you're bedridden, how long could your business actually last without you? And think about that. Think about that question. How long can your business last without you? If you are the business and you remove yourself, or if you're predominantly the key, driver in the business, then you're not going to have a business. And similar to a job, a job will only pay you when you're actually working, right? But that's not what we want out of a business, right? We want out of a business the ability to get what I think is, three main things, leading to an end result. I think that really what we want to get, and the reason we got into business in the first place, is we wanted to get control. We wanted to control our own destiny, okay? To do things the way that we wanted things to be done, to provide the quality of workmanship that we wanted, to provide the services in the way that we wanted, to the types of clients that we wanted, with the right people, the right team surrounding us, and being able to be in control of our own destiny. That's one of the main reasons that we became an entrepreneur. That's what I believe. The next thing is freedom. The freedom to not to be chained, to working for somebody, right? The ability to eventually get this business to run without you more and more, so that you can go and take a vacation. You can do whatever the hell you want to do. You can go and have the freedom to execute and actually, live some of those dreams, and, have the freedom to choose, where you're going to set up shop, the freedom to choose, when you're going to go on vacation, the freedom to live that lifestyle that you want. Okay. So control, freedom, and money. To be able to make the money that you can pay for that freedom, to be able to make the money beyond you, that you're able to live, not just have a choice of that lifestyle, but be able to pay for that lifestyle. Okay. Money is part of life, right? We need money to have freedom. We need money to have control. We need money to be able to pay for employees, to be able to pay for the systems, to be able to pay for the lights, be able to pay for the nice truck or vehicles, or pay for our kids' education, and all those different things. So I think the main reason we got into business was to be able to get the freedom, the control, and the money. And the net goal for us is to be able to scale our business beyond us. Now, you might not be thinking that right now because you're on the tools and you're deep in it. And it's like, how the hell do I go about doing that? I mean, Andrew, you're resonating with me. I do want more control. I do want more freedom. I do want more money. Well, how the heck do I go and get that? Well, one of the key ways of getting that is you have to build a team. Okay. You have to build a team around you. Now, I know this book says tradespeople, but this applies to any employee that you're looking at hiring. So the premise of the book is, this is the reality. And we're going to touch on, I said this is a 4-part series. We're going to go a little bit deeper into the very first one, called Find. Okay. And that's going to be one of the main topics that's going to get you to understand why the hell I came up with this title. So again, type in any of the questions that you've got regarding this topic of hiring, or anybody for that matter. If you're not part of the Profitable Contractors Association, then you definitely want to join that. That's over 10,000 like-minded contractors. So how do you get the book? You go to Contractor Hiring Mastery.
So that's CONTRACTOR, hiring, HIRING, mastery, MASTERY. So hiring or contractor, hiringmastery.com. Again, if you're already in the Profitable Contractors Association, you're going to get a link to the book, and you can get your hands on this book. It's this thing's game changer. Okay, so let's get right to the point. When it comes to finding people, I think that's one of the biggest challenges that we have. Is like, Andrew, you highlight that, everybody knows that there's a shortage of tradespeople out there. Everybody knows that the government has not really supported us over the last 30, 40 years. And so when it comes to finding people, the reality is that we have not been, there's not a huge abundance of new tradespeople coming into the marketplace. So you might be like, Andrew, how the heck do we go about finding these people? Like you're contradicting what it is that you're saying, that there's lots of people out there. Trust me, guys, there are tons of people out there with what I'm about to tell you. So when it comes to finding, okay, you've got to look at this. I look at this incredibly differently than any other coaching company out there. Okay. And that's why I'm the one coming out with this book. Okay? I'm the only one that's come up with this book, about how to steal your competitors' tradespeople ethically. The reality, everybody listening in, is that there are A players out there. Okay. So here's the little piece of gold. Okay. And I'm going to give you some other piece of gold, like more tangible strategies. I'm going to give you one actually right now as to how to find them. If you go into the yellow pages, okay, if you type in on the yellow pages right now, whatever your trade is, let's say you're a drywaller, let's say that you're an installation company, let's say that you're a electrical contractor, plumbing contractor, a fucking sheet metal contractor, a fucking roofing contractor, I don't care, a framer, builder, you name it, whatever your trade is. Let's just use one. Let's just say it's a plumbing contractor, right? And we type in the city of Toronto. Let's just pretend that we're in Toronto, for example, and we type in the yellow pages, plumbing contractor. Guys, there is literally thousands of contractors that pop up. Let's just say that for grins, it was like, I don't know, let's say it was like 1,500 contractors. It's probably a lot more than that, but in the city, it's going to be, 1,000, 2,000 type of thing, right? The average, stick with me here, the average number of the average number of tradespeople that works for a contracting company, okay, on average, these are just industry stats, is between 7 and 8 people, okay? So you've got, let's just say, you got 1,500 contractors. Let's make it even simpler. Let's say that there's only 1,000 in that city. Well, that means that there's easily over 8,000, right, plumbers in that area, over 8,000 tradespeople in that area working for contractors. And you're like, Andrew, like, get to the point. What's your point on this? I'm going to tell you what my point is. There are tons of A players out of that 8,000. Okay, 8,000 of them out there are working for somebody right now. Now, let's just say that only half of those are A players. Let's just be super conservative and say, every one of those companies, only half of their employees are A players. That would lead us to 4,000 A players that are out there. Now, you're still like, Andrew, I still don't get, how the heck do we go and, so what's your point? My point is that you have now found them. Okay, they are right in your backyard. And by the way, I'm not limiting this to your backyard. You can geographically go beyond the town that you're in or the city that you're in. People are willing to travel. Now I'm going to slightly touch on the attract side of things. So we're talking about the find for a second. Okay, that's one of the biggest ways that you can get a paradigm shift in how you see the availability of skilled tradespeople. They are out there right now and they're working for somebody else. Now you're going to be saying to me, Andrew, but they're working for somebody else. How's that going to help me? That's a great question. Okay. So the reality is they are looking, the majority of them are looking. And the reason they're looking, now we're starting to go into the track side of things. Okay. Just touching on that. The reality is that the majority of contractors out there have never been taught how to run a business. And the reality is that most contractors, because they don't know how to run a business, because they haven't been coached, because they haven't been given the principles, they haven't been given the tools, the training. Okay. Think about all the training that went into you learning your skill set as a tradesperson. It took time. It took knowledge. It took you being taught certain things to give you a certain level of awareness. Well, you need to become a business owner, because here's what the reality is. 90% of those contractors out there suck at being a business owner. And because they suck at being a business owner, they suck at putting their business in a controlled state, right? Most of these contractors, their businesses are being ran in a chaotic state. And because they're being ran in a chaotic state, you've got these 4,000, in the example we used, we got these 4,000 A players. And guess what? A players want to work in a great environment. A players want to work for somebody that's worthy of working for. You guys getting that? A players want to work in a culture that, promotes and recognizes A players. But most of these contractors in some form of chaos, they're not communicating properly to their A players. They're not delivering the material on time to their A players. They're not, telling their A players how to win. They're not setting a pathway beyond just a job for their A players and turning it from a job into a career. They're not allowing them and giving them, I'm only touching on, we're going to get deeper into this on the attract side in the next part of this podcast series, but they're not even, letting them have a work-life balance. And the list goes on and on and on and on. Those A players will switch who they're working for in a freaking drop of a hat if they are able to find a place that provides all of those things that we just talked about and more. So you have A players already there. And by the way, you want those A players. You want to find the ones that are working for somebody, because if in an environment, guys, where there is more demand for trades companies to do work than there is supply, if somebody is not working right now, I'm going to tell you right now, you know the answer. You probably don't want that person. So the people that you actually want is you want the people that are working for your competitors. And it's okay for you to steal them so long as you do it ethically. We're not talking about approaching it from the standpoint of going on a job site, and poaching these guys. We're talking about getting out into the marketplace, how you can go about attracting these people, okay, to your place from an ethical standpoint, whereby when they find out that your place is a better place to work for, when they find out that your place is a better place to, build a career with, they're going to go and jump ship. And that is completely ethical. Being able to allow somebody to have a better, work-life balance, being able to allow somebody to, being okay with somebody coming from a competitor's place that was a hellhole to work for, to come to a place that's in control and is going to really respect these people and appreciate them for them being A players. There's nothing wrong with that. It's completely ethical. All right. And I can see Andrea, my right-hand person here, is posted into the Profitable Contractors Association the link to the book. Okay. So you guys want to get on that. And by the way, when you get on that list, you get some in-depth training, like much deeper than this right now. You get complimentary training on the principles that are inside this book. So you definitely want to get your hands on this. But let's go ahead and get into some of the actual real tactics. One of the tactics on finding was what I just talked about. So again, go into your yellow pages, go into your Google, go into whatever your search engine is that you use, and type in whatever the type of trade is that you are. Get an awareness of how many contractors are in your area, because every single one of them has A players that really are working for somebody that doesn't have an A player type of environment. Okay, so that's strategy number one. Strategy number two, you have to get with technology. Okay, that was actually using some technology, really simple technology. But if you're not even willing to do that, again, you should have not even been on this freaking podcast. All right, that's a super simple thing, costs you freaking nothing to do other than like literally 2 to 3 minutes to type that in. Okay, now we're going to go a little bit deeper with the strategy, okay, and how to find them. Now we've got 11 different strategies on how to find them. I'm only going to cover off a couple here for the sake of time. Again, if you're in the Facebook group, make sure you post any of the questions that you guys got, and that would be super, super cool. So here's one of the things called Facebook is an incredibly powerful tool. But like any tool that you have in your toolbox, right? If you use a hammer to try to be a screwdriver, well, you really are wasting your time and you're using the wrong tool. And it's a bit of stupidity, okay? So we need to use the Facebook properly and use it as a tool. And if we don't use it, honestly, it's a bit of stupidity, in my personal opinion. One of the features that Facebook has is, and write this down, and you don't necessarily need to do it. I mean, we have the ability to share with our champion CEOs. Those are the ones that are being helped by us. I call them champion CEOs because they're champions and they're the CEO of their business, or turning them into champion CEOs of their business and turn them into champion CEOs of their life. Okay. Because being a CEO is not just about your business. It's about being a CEO of your life as a whole. All right. So it's called geo-targeting. So write down geo-targeting. You can get somebody else to do this for you. Okay. Or if you want, you can ask us how the heck do you go about doing it. But geo-targeting is super powerful. So let's just say that we've got something called suppliers. Yes, suppliers. You guys all use suppliers. Well, isn't it funny that most of the tradespeople in the area go to these suppliers? That's interesting. You might be like, okay, Andrew, yeah, you're right. Yeah. So just like going fishing, we're trying to pick the spots where we know that there's fish. In this case, that we know that there's prospective employees, okay? Specific in this case to being tradespeople. So geo-targeting, what it allows you to do, fucking unbelievable what it allows you to do. It allows you to take like this pencil, okay? Picture this is like a heat seeker, okay? And it geo-targets to a specific area. You could actually, pinpoint where your suppliers are. Have Facebook geo-target so you can place an ad, Facebook ad, specific to that area, right on that point within a 100-kilometer radius, 50-kilometer radius, whatever the radius is that you want. So that as these, imagine this, as these tradespeople that are working for your competition are driving into that zone, up pops on their Facebook an ad of who? Of you. Now there's a whole strategy. Okay. Be careful just going out and doing this, because if you don't learn how to properly create an ad, which is in here, you don't, know how to use what's called the secret psychology of your prospect, then it might actually do you more damage than good. Okay. But let's just say that you've grabbed this book, you've learned how to do an ad that actually attracts and resonates with your prospective client. And when I say that when I say that we actually show you how to do an ad, what I'm actually talking about here, okay, straight up with you, is an actual ad itself. So we put an example of an ad. I'm sharing this right now on the screen of what it is. You could actually take this ad, modify it, put your own name in it, make it more relevant to your business, and you'd be amazed at how many of these people you're going to attract. So it's like dropping a fishing line into a water hole that you know that there's fish in it, not in the whole lake, but in a specific area of the lake. So you're like, hey man, I took my fish finder, I found out where the school of fish is. Like, I'm not bullshitting you here. And now you're able to drop in a line where you know there's a school of fish, in this case, a school of prospective skilled tradespeople. And here's the thing. The majority of people that you're going to be attracting in today's world is more than likely in between the ages of, late 20s to mid 40s. Okay. Maybe the latest 50s. Now, why is that? Well, I'm telling you why, because a lot of these people that are in their 50s, mid 50s are going to be looking at retirement, right? Not to say that you don't want, not to say there's not a position for those kind of people, but what we're talking about is we're trying to hire people that's going to be for the longevity of the company. Okay. So we want to hire people that are going to be with us for a long time. Okay. So from a demographic perspective, you also want to deal with people, and this is a little bit of extra insight in the book. You want to deal with people within that range of, late 20s, even early 20s, to mid 40s, because those people are more tech savvy as far as generationally than anybody else. And the brutal reality is that in order for us to run our business and to scale it, you have to use technology. If you're not going to be willing to catch up to the times of technology, you're going to be left behind. You're going to be left in the freaking shadows. Okay. So geo-targeting is an incredibly powerful strategy. It totally works. It's very easy to use. And I should discount the ease of use. It's easy because you don't necessarily need to do it. There's any young person, okay, can easily figure out, and there's training on Facebook. It's probably take you no longer than 30 minutes to maximum an hour to learn how to geo-target using Facebook, or easier yet, get one of your kids to do it. Get somebody that's young to do it, and they can do this thing in no time at all. Okay. And that is a great strategy to focus on from that perspective. Okay. So another really good strategy as far as where to find them. I'm going to give you one last one out of the 11. Again, the book goes in much deeper detail. You want to get the book, go to contractorhiringmastery.com. Is this principle of thieves hang with thieves, and the good hang with the good. So what does that got to do with you? What does that got to do with finding A players? Well, A players hang with A players. You see, it hasn't changed much since I was in the trade. Tradespeople hang with tradespeople. All right. A players hang with A players. Those A players, when they walk into the suppliers, are talking with those other A players. Okay. When they're at the suppliers, they're like, hey, John, how's it going? Hey, Steve. Hey, Sarah. Hey, such and such. They know a lot of these other A players that work for the competition. They do. Or they know somebody that knows somebody. So one of the best places to find A players is through your current A players. And one of the best ways to leverage this is to incentivize your A players. Give them a bonus. Think about, and a lot of times people will say, yeah, I'll give them $50. I'll give them $100. A lot of times I won't even think about this strategy. And I'll be like, is that really going to get somebody to take an initiative? Give them $1,000, guys. Give them a couple of grand if the person works out. Think about how much money that you can make off another A player skilled tradesperson is unbelievable. Within less than a month, right? Within a week, you should be able to make back that $1,000, no problem. Okay, times 2 or 3x. Otherwise, you got a whole nother problem in pricing your jobs profitably, in running your jobs profitably. But that's not what we're talking about today. Okay. So give them an incentive that makes them go, are you serious? Even give them what's called step incentives. So a step incentive works like this. Hey, you get me somebody that I can interview, I'll give you $500. You give me somebody that I interview, and they turn out to be somebody that we end up hiring, I'll give you, $2,000 or $1,000, on top of the 500. Make it worth their time. Make it such that they are actually, looking for A players for you, because they are constantly at those suppliers. They're constantly talking with other tradespeople. They're constantly on other job sites, right, with other trades, and those other trades know other trades. Turn them into a marketing machine. Okay. And when we talk about also hiring people and finding people, everything that I've talked about, just to let you know, is not just specific to tradespeople. You can use geo-targeting when it comes to doing what? Laser pointing into your competitor's area. You might be like, Andrew, are you serious?
Yes. Yes, I am totally serious. What is wrong with putting an ad in front of somebody that's working for the competition, for them to read it and go, hey, that's going to give me a better lifestyle. That's going to give me a better place to work and better work-life balance, or whatever it is, for my family. There's nothing wrong with that. This is not like walking on a job site and, trying to poach these people. This is putting in front of these people information so that they can make a decision. So guys, there's three major strategies, right? One, use the, Yellow Pages / Google or whatever your search engine is to give you a reality check of how many competitors are out there that have A players. Number two is use geo-targeting at the suppliers, geo-targeting at maybe there's a big trade event that's coming up, geo-targeting to the competitors area. Number three, is really leveraging A players that already are working for you. A players attract A players. And, they also, those A players are going to filter out the D players because they won't engage with them. They don't want to have a D player, a deadbeat, come and work beside them and help them. No, they want to have a team of A players. A players want to play with A players, and that's the reality. So, wrapping up this podcast today, get your hands on this book, dominate your competition, because at the bottom here is the big warning. What's that say? Either you get their top talent or they get yours. That is the brutal reality of the situation. We're not going to be getting a ton of our skilled tradespeople, a ton of our employees, especially skilled tradespeople from trade schools. Okay, we might get one or two or things, a very small number of them. But you're going to be dealing with people that are really, green, maybe that's where you want to go get. That's a great place to geo-target for apprentices and, new skilled tradespeople. But the majority of the pond of where the prospects are, the biggest pond is your competitors. And it's one of the best places to go after. So get your hands on the book, contractorhiringmastery.com. And again, you guys got any questions, let me know. And I will see you guys on the Flipper Dipper. And the next one that we're going to be talking about is on the attract side. We'll get into that. We'll get into the details of the book. And guys, when you can address a challenge that all of your competitors have, which is hiring people, when you can systemize that, you're going to end up being like our clients, our champion CEOs, and having people lined up, people being on the benches as bench warmers. And you're going to be able to scale your business to a completely different level. Okay. Don't let the topic of hiring hold you back. Get the topic of hiring to help you, grow your business. All right. We'll see you on the flip side, everybody. Later. Hey, Rockstar, I hope you enjoyed that one. And if you did like this one, join our private Facebook group, Profitable Contractors Association. It's one of the biggest communities for contractors with over 10,000 members, where you get the latest insights to help you delegate, dominate, and deliver so you can take your contracting business to a whole nother level.